Let me ask you a question. How's your work-life balance going? Are you able to separate and compartmentalize so that you can enjoy your friends and family without worrying about your work? Or perhaps you're not able to get your work done because you're struggling in your personal life. Find out now by taking my brand new quiz. It's called How's Your Work Life Balance? Find it at lisamustard.com/quiz. And in just a few questions, you'll find out where you stand. Plus, you'll get my best advice and tips on how to balance it all better. That's lisamustard.com/quiz. Welcome to the Therapy Show podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard. In each episode, I interview a seasoned and knowledgeable talk therapist from the counseling world to glean valuable insights, techniques, and tools that you can apply to your practice and your life. And if you're considering a career in the counseling field or just want to hear about what it's like to be a talk therapist, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Stacia Alexander is a licensed professional counselor and supervisor, boasting over 20 years of expertise in her field. She owns and operates a notable private group mental health practice. She's also a speaker, a strategy coach, and she's recognized for her commitment to her work with minorities to dispel stigmas associated with mental health. And in this episode of The Therapy Show, I talk with Dr. Alexander about her new book that's coming out very soon. It's called 10 Things I Wish I'd Known About Mental Health in College. I also talk with Dr. Alexander about how she got into the field, her background, all the different things that she's done over the years, why she is so invested in the mental health of college students, and how she helps therapists learn more about college mental health. We hope you enjoy this episode. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Therapy Show. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard, and this week's guest is Dr. Stacia Alexander. Welcome to the show. It's so awesome to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Feels good.
Good. I'm so glad. And I know that we have a mutual friend, Michelle Rigg, who connected us. And
Yeah.
she reached out to me and she said, Lisa, you have got to meet Dr. Alexander. She's doing some really cool things. And when I found out what you were doing, I was like, heck yes. So, can you
Excellent.
share with our audience who you are and what you do?
Yes, and I want to start out by thanking Michelle for the shout out. Her and I have been friends since we were in our 20s, so that's a long time.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I won't
awesome.
reveal our ages, but I'm a private health care clinician, mental health, and right now I have an awesome program that I've launched specifically for college students because I've been working on this college campus for about 4 years, and
Okay.
it really tied in with what I was doing in my private practice, helping people understand that the emotionality of success does not make you immune to mental health challenges, right?
Mhm.
Like sometimes we will still run into roadblocks and situations that may overwhelm us, and we need to process those and not ignore them as if they never happened.
Gotcha. I love that. And I have a place in my heart for college mental health as well, because that's where I know I told you this before,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I cut my teeth in my internship program. And when I was in grad school, I did my clinical internship at a college counseling center. And
Mm-hmm.
then after graduation, I worked there for a little bit. So this population, it's interesting because when I was in college, I'm not sure we talked at all about college mental health. And I'm gonna date myself. I graduated college in '95. And I don't even think I knew where the counseling clinic was when I was an undergrad. So, how do you think what do you think the shift has been like? How people view it now versus maybe when we were back in college?
Yeah, I'm like you. I didn't know where the counseling center was either, if there was one. But I will tell you the shift has been right aligned with what's going on in our country right now, that people are more aware of the necessity to
Mm,
take care of their mental health challenges. And what we've seen is that time in college, where we think these students have everything that they need, most of the time they're living in a bubble.
mhm,
Most of the time they have support on campus that's related to their academic, their social lives, organizations. Even if they want to get in politics or something, they have that bubble around them. But what we realize now is that we have not paid enough attention to the emotional baggage that comes with being in college, especially when so many things are going on, not only inside the bubble, but outside of the bubble.
mhm.
So everything is kind of filtering in and out, and we expect them to be able to make those shifts and be ready for independence when they finished college. And that's just not happening.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And why do you think that it's not happening? Like, what do you think's missing for these college kids when they get I mean, like you said, they have the support, they have, like within their academics. Where do you think the misstep is, or what were they not getting? Is it just like the pressure in a new environment? They're stepping into something new, or is it a combination of things?
It is a combination of things. And that's really what I talk about in the book
Hmm.
is that one, when you first asked that question, my first thought was they're missing transparent conversations.
Oh, okay.
They're missing the introduction into it. They're missing the, hey, this may happen.
Gotcha.
You may feel this may come up. And so we're not providing them with the tools to address those things. So it takes them by surprise. If you go out to college and you have everything, you got the nice room, you're meeting new people, you got the classes you want, but you still feel sad.
Hmm.
You feel like I don't have a right to feel like this. Like my parents are paying my tuition, or my tuition is paid. I got a scholarship, or
Right.
I'm struggling to pay, whatever the situation may be. But you still, in your mind, you're thinking, I'm where I said I wanted to be. So why don't I feel happy?
Gotcha.
Oh, well, you're missing your parents. You're missing your neighborhood. You're missing the routine that you had. You're feeling confused, maybe a little apprehensive. We're not preparing them for those moments where they're not as steady on their feet as they think they should be because they're in college.
Yeah, you're so right. You just hit the nail on the head. You're right. Like we're not preparing them
Mm-hmm.
because we think they have it all together, or they think they have it all together, and
Mm-hmm.
then they get there and they're like, "Whoa,
Right.
I'm
I know
feeling a
I was
certain
like
way."
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I went off to college, because I had been a quality academic student, I wasn't so good behaviorally, but academically, I could take care of what I needed to take care of. And so my parents sent me off to college thinking, oh, she'll be fine. And that was just so far from the truth. I did not know all of the answers. I didn't have it all together. But even I swallowed that message that I should have it all together. So I wasn't even as comfortable calling back home and saying, hey, this is not working out the way I thought it would.
Right. Yeah. Do
Mhm.
you do you remember how you worked through that, or like how you got through it?
Oh yeah, it was like bumps.
Yeah.
Like I got a bunch of knots on my head, like
Mhm.
missteps that cost me a considerable amount of money, financially
Mhm.
paying for tuition and everything. People that I lived with, like I moved out with someone. I should not have done that, but I thought I knew everything.
Mhm.
And then it was just those really dark moments where I felt alone. I felt like I had, even though I had a whole bunch of friends, I had joined a sorority. I was very social, and I had gotten into the groove of things finally academically on the college campus. But I still felt like, in the middle of the night, like, I don't understand this. I don't know
Right.
what's next. I'm really afraid at this point. And I did. I reached out to my dad one night, probably my senior year. I
Mhm.
reached out and I was crying so hard. And he just said, wait a minute, just wait. It's okay. I promise you, we can figure this out. But
Yeah.
in my mind, I had just messed up too bad, you
Right.
know?
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
hearing it from, an experienced person, somebody I really trusted and loved, tell me it was going to be all right. And how easier of a journey would have been if I had just called him the first time I ran into that situation. Like that was my first time having a checking account. I
Mm.
didn't I didn't know. It was my first, if I have checks, I have money, right? That was
Right.
my that was my rationale. And it wasn't until, the bank started, we're gonna press charges. And I was like, no, like, no, my money is coming. But I didn't understand
Right.
they were taking out withdrawals before they were making deposits.
Right.
You see how that does that
Yeah.
that little trick of the banking industry can total
Yeah.
out someone's account month after month after
Right.
month. I hadn't figured it out until my dad marched me to the bank with him.
Right.
Right. And said, you need to explain to her why she never has enough money in her account.
Wow. Yeah. And I think what you're talking about, I mean, I know I felt all those things
Mm-hmm.
when I was in college. And I think back on it now, and I didn't talk to anybody about it. I
Mm-mm.
mean, I really didn't, because you're right. Like I didn't think that I thought this was, I don't know what I thought, come to think of it. Like I don't even know what I thought. So I love that you've written a book and you
Yes.
have a program and a
Yes.
workshop, everything that's for not just college students, but it's for families too, right?
It is. I would hope that families would
Hmm.
utilize the program, because one of those things, like talking about the financial hardship, people were thinking, well, she should have taken a finance class. You're right, and we get the finance classes,
Hmm.
but what we don't talk about in the finance classes is how it emotionally impacts you when
Right.
you mishandle your finances.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The offshoot of that.
Yeah.
So yes, I would hope that families would get the information and go over with their students before they ever leave for
Mm-hmm.
college. Like the junior and senior year, you start incorporating these conversations into your dialogue
Right.
in preparation for them leaving home.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, my daughter is a freshman in high school this year, and we're already like having the talks about money and about, how do you budget? How do you earn money? Of course, she
Mm-hmm.
wants to spend all my money. She wants to save
Always.
all her money, but she wants to
Uh-huh.
spend my money, which I think I guess that's just how that I'm probably be the same way too. Like I understand saving money, so can I spend yours instead? Like,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So how did this become like a passion for you? How did you get here to this moment where you wanted to write a book and do all this niche
That's
work?
That's good because I've written books before. The Emotionality of Success is the program that I've been running for about 8 years, which
Mhm.
really targets professional women and breaks our lives into four different quadrants: professionally, spiritually, relationships, and then self-care.
Mhm.
So when I started working with college students, I began explaining these same concepts to them, like stop trying to target or conquer everything at once. Really look at the different quadrants of your life and build accountability in each one of those to get the piece that you're wanting and to acquire the goals that you're trying to reach. Well, I got called to apply for a job at a college, a local college, and I said no. I
Mhm.
did. I said, no, I don't know. I'm fine. What I'm doing, private practice has been great. My kids are graduating. I'm good.
Mhm.
But she did not relent. She persisted. And I said, okay. And it has been really good. And what I think one of the most rewarding things about it is are having those frank conversations about people. A lot of the students at the college where I work never even thought they were going to college. And
Mhm.
so not only are we giving them an avenue to not only elevate themselves, but provide generational encouragement
Right.
to the people that are coming before them and after them, because we actually have a program where the students who enroll, one of their parents can go to college as well.
Oh, how
I
cool.
know it's really awesome. It's just really innovative programming. But if we can integrate mental health into those discussions,
Mhm.
then we are providing just that much more for the students. Like, okay, financially, we can give you some training, academics, we can put you on a career path, but let's also talk about how you're going to handle these changes that you weren't really prepared for. Because
Right.
first generation college students, that's an entirely different
Oh, yeah.
demographic, right? Like I
Mhm.
wasn't first generation. Both of my parents went to college, and were very successful in their careers or what have you. But I don't think they understood the emotionality of success. I know they did not. They were not prepared for the level of success that they achieved. They just,
Really? Okay.
oh no,
Yeah.
no. They moved into, this was the 70s, Lisa,
Hmm.
this was the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So they moved into a neighborhood that probably maybe two other Black families were there.
Hmm.
And then after, then everybody started moving in. They were making quite a bit more money than even their parents had ever
Mm.
made.
Sure.
The house that they bought was better than other family members. So they were asked a lot from
Mm.
people.
Hmm.
And it took a toll on their marriage. They simply were not prepared
Yeah.
for that level of success. And it took them years. Like my mother never did. My mother never adjusted to that. So it's pretty interesting to watch how it impacted them. And I'm very mindful of that in my life, especially when I talk to other people who, when I say cross generational
Mhm.
success, meaning you've excelled far beyond what your family has prepared you for.
Wow. Okay.
You
Yeah.
see, that's an entirely
Yeah.
different conversation and nobody really talks about.
Sure.
So when my dad was taking me, as a child, where do you want to live? And he take me to really nice neighborhoods. He said, well, this is the kind of job you would have to have, right? So
Right.
I did that with my kids. Where do you want to live? And they told me, what kind of work you want to do? I want to flip burgers at McDonald's. Well, you cannot live in this neighborhood if you want to flip burgers at McDonald's, right?
Right. Right.
And so just explaining to the next generation emotionally what it would take out of them, that has never been in the conversation.
Right.
There's going to
Right.
be a lot of pressure. You
Yeah.
may feel anxious. You may feel like you don't belong. You may
Hmm.
feel scared. You may feel lonely. Nobody talks about that. They just think that they talk about the happy side of everything. And you and I both know, everyone
Uh-huh.
listening knows, that even when you're successful, it's not always cookies and cream.
Oh no.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. And
Mm.
it's interesting because my family, my dad grew up pretty much poor, like urban
Mhm.
poor in the city. And
Mhm.
then he achieved success in his early 20s. And so Well, and we don't have much of a relationship right now. So I'm kind of like, looking at it as a clinician, but then I also look at it as
Yeah.
his daughter. And
Hmm.
it's crazy in my mind, like trying to understand some of the things that, he went through when he had his success. And it did a number on him. Like it really, I think, did a number on him. And he just wanted more and more and more.
Hmm.
And eventually, I don't even know if I've ever shared this with my listeners, but he spent time in federal prison because of, what happened. And it's such a story, Stacia. Like I don't even want to get into it. It's such a story, but you know, that in itself played a number on me when I was going to college because I had all of that I'd never really processed before. And when
Right.
I was off on my own,
Hmm.
with that kind of like, well, my dad didn't go to college and he was a success. And do I have to go to college to be a
Right.
success? So there's a lot. Oh my gosh, it's just like I wish I had your book back then. I didn't even know I needed it, but now I
Right.
know that I needed it. So
Right.
I love that you have done this work and that you are helping so many young adults,
Hmm.
get through this time. Hey, friend, do you need continuing education contact hours? If so, be sure to check out my pod courses. Plus, I'm giving you your first one for free. That's right, for free. Just head to my site and sign up for a free pod course. I'll then email you a code you can enter at checkout to get your first pod course at no charge. You can listen anytime, anywhere, and when you're ready, purchase the course, take the quiz, pass it, and download your certificate of completion. We think it's pretty simple and easy, yet if you have any questions, please get in touch with us. So you are in private practice as well as
Yes.
the director of this counseling center at the
Hmm.
university? Okay. And in your private practice, is that mainly who you see, or do you have a variety of clients that you work with?
Well, mainly who I see are professional people, and
Mhm.
I do the largest demographic are women, of
Okay.
course. I have some men that come, but then when the college students come, it's really they're probably like newly graduated
Mhm.
college students would come to me because when students who are currently in college reach out, I highly encourage them to utilize the services on
Yeah, oh
campus.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I do. I tell them, are you sure they don't have a counseling center on campus
Mhm.
if they're currently enrolled? But then I have some people who are adults in that age group and they're not in college or what have you.
Mhm.
Right. So
Okay.
mhm.
So you really love this age group. It sounds like it's
I
a
do. I
heart.
call it adult emergence. I love
Ooh,
it.
I
Yes.
like
Adult
that.
emergence. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too. And come to think of it, when I was doing a little bit of private practice, that's pretty much, I guess I would just, they would follow me from the counseling center to
Hmm.
the private practice. So I work with a lot of young women that young emergence, or young adult emergence too.
Uh-huh.
I really like that. So, okay, can we talk a little bit about what it's like to write a book, making the decision to write a book, all the
Hmm.
things that go through writing a book? So when did it start for you that you were going to write this book? Like, take us back. Like, how long ago?
It started probably within the first year of being on this campus because I was repeating the same
Mm-hmm.
things. I was reassuring them of the same things. And someone encouraged me, you need to write a book of your experience in really working in this mental health clinic and destigmatizing mental health. But it wasn't until COVID, of course, where everybody just kind of had a wake up moment that, you probably could be doing something instead of so busy running around, like being overbooked. I was really on the run a lot. You can imagine running a private practice and a counseling center
Mm-hmm.
at college. But I got a big no this year. Let's make the long story short. I got a big no this year, and it ticked me off really bad.
Mm.
It did. And so I had to sit down, and I'm a very faithful person. And I said, God, I know there's a lesson in this. And I remember the last time I got a big no. The last time I received a big no, I opened up my private practice. So that was back in the late 90s. That was the last big no that I got. And that sustained me for over 20 years.
Wow.
And we did the numbers about 3 to 4 years ago, and it was about 17,000 people that had come through the clinic. I've employed about 300 clinicians, right, over this 20 something year period. So when I realized that, when I heard that message that the last time you had a big no, this is what you did, it's time for something else big.
Mm-hmm.
There's something else in you that needs to be pushed out. And I told you no on that you thought you wanted because I need you to focus on something else. And so I sat back and I figured out what that something else was.
Mm-hmm.
We took a vacation in May
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote the book. I wrote the book. Everybody else was sleeping, and I'm an early morning person. So I would get up. We were on the beach. get up and just write and write for about 3 hours because I'm just an early riser and
Uh-huh.
there's a 5 hour time difference. So everybody was just really sleeping much later than I was accustomed to. But it gave me the space and that water and the air. It was just so freeing.
Right.
So the process for that book was it was just flowing out of me. The hardest part about it is waiting on editors and designers and all of those
Mhm.
things because then it's out of your hands.
Mhm.
I have decided more than likely that I am going to self-publish it. It's just waiting, right? So that's why it's in pre-sale because you just cannot wait forever.
Right.
But the entire program is done. That's what I really like about it because I've made it so that if you don't like to read books, you can do the workbook. If
Mhm.
you don't like to do workbooks, you can get the affirmation cards. If you don't like the affirmation cards, you can do the conversation pieces. If you don't like that, then you can get the mental health wellness kit. There's so many different tiers that parents can say, I can get this for my student because
Yeah.
they need it.
Right.
Hmm.
So you wrote it like this past May, like just this May.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
wow. That would, yeah. Oh my gosh. And how long did it take you to write your other, usually you write your other books? How long did that take?
The first one that I published was with our family. My husband and my two adult. They were I don't know if they were adults then, but it took us a while to write that one because one was in Argentina, one was in Georgia. We were just kind of all over the place writing that book. But normally it's a year.
Hmm.
Normally about a year before I'm like, okay, here you go. And I've also used beta readers in the past, which I did not this time. I've just hired two professional editors to go through it. With the beta readers, I like just no one who has any expectations. I like to hear their viewpoint,
Uh-huh.
their feedback on it. But this one, I know is just so succinct on what college students need to know that I didn't want that. I
Yeah.
didn't need that feedback this time around.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And so aside from writing the book, are there other products or services that you're going to launch with it as well?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm already booking trainings where I'll go to different college campuses to offer the training.
Okay.
Already booking that. And then there's also an option to buy the curriculum and just have it on your campus for your own counselors to teach it to the students. Yes.
Smart.
Mhm.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. So you can kind of like license it out and then they can
Exactly.
have it.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. And and I know like therapists out there and I just like to dive into like how you market this because everybody wants to know like, well, I have this idea and I would like to write a
Right.
curriculum too. Like how do you market to the other universities or how do you get the word out there? Do you have like a team that you hire? Do you do it on your own?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because I'm really good about word of mouth. Like when
Okay.
I put something out there, I do not hesitate to ask people to share it.
Okay.
And I tell people in my circle, do not ignore my phone calls because I will be reaching out to you, like just very assertive like that. But of course, we are going to engage a full marketing program,
Hmm.
right? When everything is basically ready to push out,
Okay.
then we'll do the full marketing program. And I'm already working with companies, like basically interviewing and vetting them to see how they can help us.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. This is so neat. So you're such an entrepreneur. I mean, it's incredible. Michelle wasn't kidding when she said you're doing some amazing things. So I love it. What are you excited about for the future? Like when you think about what's coming next?
I'm excited that this no did not ground me. I am. I feel really awesome right now. I feel
Mhm.
clear-headed. I feel on track. COVID, the quarantine season was hard.
Yeah.
We lost, family members and stuff, and had to bring all the kids back home. So it was a lot of adult energy in the household. You have a freshman, so you can imagine what that's like times three with
Mm.
adults. And then we had some illnesses with in-laws and stuff. But right now, I just feel really on target and focus. That's the word,
Yeah.
focus. So
Yeah.
this program is where my energy is going right now. And yeah, that's where you'll see me. That's the space you'll see me in.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, this is just amazing what you're doing. And I am so excited. And, I think the lesson for me listening to you share is when you received a no, you didn't see the no as how this is how I'm interpreting it. You
Uh-huh.
didn't see it as a failure. You saw it as a slow down sign. Take a look at why you got that no, maybe
Right.
reevaluate why you got the no and this isn't what can you learn from the no,
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And can I ask, I am curious, like when you got that no back in the late 90s and you decided to open up your private practice, Was that like a leap of faith that you had to take at that time in your life?
Oh, yes, it was a
Okay.
huge leap of faith. We were newly married. We had a baby. We may have even had two. We had two babies.
Mm.
We had two babies. And I got that no. And I was livid. And I came home and I told my husband, I said, that's it. I'm opening up the private practice. I just don't have to work for people that do not value my
Mhm.
expertise, right? And so that's what we did. And it was a big leap of faith to grow the practice the way it did. At
Right.
one point, it had 4 offices. Then we scaled back. Now we're all virtual, but just because of the
Yeah.
times. But yeah, it was a huge leap of faith. Even this one was a leap of faith. The only thing is, I'm not afraid of failure now.
Yeah.
Back then, I was still afraid of failure. I can be honest with you. I did it in spite of being afraid, but now I'm not. And listen, when I tell you, this is a conversation I have with so many people, even my own kids. Why are you so afraid to fail?
Yeah.
Like, do you realize that's the only way you're going to succeed?
Mhm.
That is absolutely the only way you're going to figure out what you're good at,
Right.
what people are going to really look to you to provide for them. That's the only way. And I have failed in business. I have failed in friendships. I haven't failed in my marriage. We're going on 29 years this year, so I haven't
Ah,
failed in my marriage.
that's
But
great.
had some short moments, but
Right.
I have even fallen out of this chair during right, like it's just and I still and it's just like oh my gosh, like nothing's broken, right? I'm in my 50s, nothing's broken, so I'm good.
Yeah.
But it's not a tombstone.
Right.
Failure is a milestone. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh,
okay, which way do I go from here? It's not the end of the road. It's just you got to take a different direction. So when they told me no at the beginning of the year, I just took a different direction.
right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is beautiful advice. Failure is not a tombstone, it is a milestone. I'm going to write that down and put your
Yay.
name next to that. I love that. That is
Thank
just
you.
so I would love to hear a little bit about the book. Could
Hmm.
you tell me could you give me an overview of maybe a couple of the chapters or
Yes.
takeaways that you would hope that our young adults will get from it?
Yes, one of the primary chapters, or the first chapter that I put into the book was grief, because we tend to look at grief as linear.
Right.
That, oh, because someone died
Mhm.
or I lost something, that I can be sad. So I really want parents and the students to understand that grief also comes in layers when you're preparing to leave for college, during the actual transition, and after everyone has gone back home and the students are on campus themselves. I talk about that in detail. And then I also talk about what it's like to lose a loved one while you're away at college, because no one prepares us for that.
Right.
I actually told my children before they went off to college that we will have a fund for you, because those plane tickets can get awfully high at last minute. We have funds for you that if there's ever an emergency, we can either get to you or you can get home. Do not ever hesitate to call home. And we had that situation. My son had a very serious medical problem
Mm,
his junior year in school. And my husband and I probably spent the better part of 3 weeks flying back and forth to be with him.
right. Oh
So you can
gosh.
imagine how
Mhm.
expensive that got. But that was also an awakening for him, that I know who really is in my corner. Right. It
Right.
was just another level of parenting.
Right.
But so grief is a heavy subject for a lot of people. So I put that at the front. Let's just get this out the way early.
Okay.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
Mhm.
But I also go through several different layers of adulting, like I was talking about with finances and credit card, and where are you going to go to church, and what kind of friends are you going to have, and what
Mhm.
kind of organizations, your sex life, your dating life, all of those things that we take in isolation
Mhm.
without realizing how they're impacting our mental health. And
Right.
another chapter is strictly based on nutrition, your routines.
Mhm.
How are you sleeping? What are you eating? I know for me, when I went to college, my breakfast of choice was a Minute Maid orange and a Snicker. Every single morning, I went by the vending machine and got a Minute Maid orange and a Snicker. If we had
Mhm.
had TikTok back then, I could have made a really good branding deal with them. But I want, but because no one talked to me about sugar addiction, no one talked to me about, all they said was, you're going to gain 15 pounds your first year in college, freshman 15, right? Freshman
Mhm.
15. And I was so tiny then, I could stand to gain 15 pounds. So it didn't bother me, right? It was like, oh, I got a little butt now. I'm good. But just the nutritional side of that, it wasn't good for me, concentration wise, all
Right.
of those things. And then I also talk about how to go about finding counseling, either on campus or outside
Okay.
resources. But the chapters, a lot of them are really quick because they're in college. I know they're not going to sit down and read an entire dissertation on this subject,
Right.
but they're really quick. And then the workbook has exercises to complement
Awesome.
the text in case they do get into a group. Like that's ideally what I would like is for juniors and seniors in high school to have a group centered around this entire conversation so that they are prepared. And then when you get to college, the counselors there have a resource to offer you. Oh, if you're dealing with this here, why don't you read chapter 3 in this book?
Right.
And it may be of some help to you.
Very cool. Oh, I love it. I love it. And, I mean, I'm sure you thought of this too, but to reach out to those high school guidance counselors, that would be, I mean, I would love it if somebody handed my high school student that book her senior year and said, I know you're excited about going to college and you're looking at all these schools. And of course, my daughter wants to go as far away as possible. She's telling me if she goes to college, I know. And I'm like, no,
actually is away.
I don't want her to go that far away, but that's just me. So, she's excited about that. But when you go far away and you're not near your family, and how do you, and you're 18 and you haven't done that yet, there's a lot that emotionally goes into all of that. So, I mean, I'm so grateful you wrote this book, and I know that I will be buying some and handing them out to young adults that's going to be seriously, like, I'm going to buy these books and I'm going to give them to kids that I know that are seniors in high school that are going to be
excellent. You're like me. I have that same mentality. When I find something, I'm like, oh no, you need one. You need one. You need one.
Yeah.
I get straight Oprah on them. Yeah.
Yes. Like everybody gets a book.
Everybody gets a book. But we did run it with a beta group, Lisa, and they loved it. And one of the students that came out of it, he's going into his freshman year of college, and he told his mom, buy that book. I need that book. Make sure you send it to me.
Oh, that's
great. Right, because they love the mental health kit. It has really nice things in there, like essential oils, earplugs for them. Yeah, just things that we don't think about as parents when we send our kids off to college. Like, do you have toothpaste, soap, and deodorant?
Right. That's true.
You need earplugs. These kids are going to get on your nerves. Sometimes you just don't want to hear the sounds.
True. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're going to have a roommate that you thought you were excited to live with, and it's not turning out to be at all what you thought. What do you do with that? I mean,
in the book.
Gosh, it's all okay. Well, that's good. Well, Dr. Stacia Alexander, I'm just so grateful you came on the show and shared all your good stuff. So how do people learn more about you, and how do they pre-order or buy your book?
So they can pre-order on mycollegementalhealth.com.
Okay.
Simple, right? Just go to My College Mental Health. And then on social media, those are also the handles for the book. Okay. And then to follow me is Dr. Stacia Alexander, Dr. Stacia Alexander, on all of the platforms. Okay. I think the only thing I'm not on is Snapchat. I cannot figure out Snapchat at all.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't even know.
TikTok and Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, I got.
Well, I will be sure to put all of your links in the show notes. So if you didn't catch any of that, don't worry. Just go to the show notes and you can find her there. So once again, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
It was a joy to be with you today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey guys, before we end this episode, if you are liking my content, if you're liking my podcast, be sure to go over and leave me a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice. And if you are up for it, I'd love it if you left me a review as well. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine.
Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover more fantastic content.
And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.